USC's Jacoby Lane can go from forgotten wide receiver to biggest draft riser with a strong week at the Senior Bowl.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Guys, we have a fun one talking more Senior Bowl prospects. The Senior Bowl is next week, and we're going to be breaking down the action live there from the Senior Bowl. So expect maybe at worst at most two episodes a day. Okay, previewing, recapping, all of that. Just expect that from your boys here, the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. But we got to talk about Jacoby Lane and how he can go from a somewhat forgotten wide receiver prospect to a big riser after the Senior Bowl. Lewis Bond putting his name and his face on the wide receiver map for this NFL draft class, and Aaron Anderson projecting a similar body type, skill set, everything resembling Josh Downs with the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. Jacoby Lane, 6'4", 200 pounds, coming off a season this year, 49 receptions on 74 targets per PFF, 750 yards receiving, average a little over 15 yards per catch with 4 receiving touchdowns. And the Senior Bowl can be big for him to go from a forgotten man in a very deep and loaded wide receiver class to a big-time riser. Again, 6'4", 200 pounds. When there was a mass exodus last year where USC lost 3 wide receivers. Deuce Robinson, who's at Florida State, Kyron Hudson went to Penn State, and then Zachariah Branch, the explosive playmaker, who went to Georgia, right? And back in the summer, last summer, me and Keith was like, man, this opens the door for Jacoby Lane to take the reins and be the wide receiver 1. Newsflash, DP and Keith, you were wrong. It was Mekhi Lemon who was taking the reins and became the Biletnikoff and has a first-round grade from scouts and teams, and me, myself, and I as well. I'm not sure exactly how Keith, where he has him graded right now. We'll have player rankings and all that type of stuff. We'll have individual profiles. Listen, I've already got some new subscribers. Love what you guys are doing. Listen, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for tapping in with us. Buckle up. It's going to be a fantastic and fun NFL draft cycle, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts on audio, Spotify, iHeartRadio, whatever, or if you're on YouTube, however you're listening, stay subscribed. Be an everydayer from this point forward. And I got something I'm going to talk to you about a little bit later on in the show that you should dive into as well. But yes, when you look at it, if you're every day, you know that we talked about, Jacoby Lane in that realm, but Mekhi Lemon took over. And now going into the Senior Bowl, and why the Senior Bowl is going to be so prevalent for him, number one, again, if you're every day, you heard me, around week 1, hey, I'm going to the Clemson LSU game. I'm going to be there in person in the skybox. I'll be walking around, be able to see players, things like that. And that happened, right? And I came back on here and said, man, I was not impressed. And the crazy thing enough, I told everyone, right? I got to give myself a nice fat pat on the back there. I said what LSU was doing and how Garrett Nussmeier was playing and how they played against Clemson was not going to work against better teams, not even better teams, against better coach teams, right? And it wasn't going to work all season. All the screens and dump offs, and it wasn't going to work. And it didn't. Right? Coaches got fired, players got benched, so forth and so on. So, one thing we do as scouts and as talent evaluators and draft analysts, when we go to events, we check boxes. We want to see you check off boxes in person. So, number one, are you, Jacoby Lane, are you truly a 6'4", 200-pound wide receiver? Right? Are you going to check in? Are you going to measure in? Are you going to weigh in the way that USC has you listed? What was it? My guy, Xavier Legette, who was a very raw, physically gifted player out of South Carolina, he came to the Senior Bowl listed at, I think, 6'3", and everything from South Carolina. He came in and they did his height and weight and everything. I think he checked in just shy or just a hair above 6'1" or something like that. So yes, like checking off that box. Number one, are you legitimately 6'4"? If so, now here's where we get into the on-field things. Number one, it is for me a thing I remember writing down about Jacoby that reminded me of Tet was lack of urgency as a route runner and as a salesman. I'm not saying you don't have to run full speed, like you don't have to hit 99 on the Madden speed scale to be a salesman. But if you're going to make something look like a fade, run it with urgency and sell that, right? You can't just slowly jog and stride your way upfield and kind of half do it because DBs aren't going to fall for that, right? And you got to be able to sell it against these NFL corners. So in person, I'm going to be watching with Jacoby Lane. How good of a route runner are you? How good of a salesman are you, right? Are you deceptive enough to be manipulative, be deceptive, make them believe you're going vertical, but you got to run it with urgency so that when you snap off at the apex and work back down the stem on that comeback route, on that curl route, on that hitch route, they believed you. They turn their hips, they flip their hips, their shoulders are parallel to the end zone, and their head is the only thing looking at you. Because they're trying to get ready to run and they want to try and squeeze you to the sideline so they can try to erase you from the progression, right? So those are the things that's something I'm gonna be paying attention to. Speed, right? Top end speed, first step quickness and explosiveness. We don't talk about that first step quickness enough from wide receivers. We talk about it from edge rushers. We talk about it from defensive tackles. Heck, you can even sometimes talk about it from offensive tackles. That first step quickness, that first step in that kick step, right? When they get their back foot off the ball, off the ground, and how quickly can they get out their stance, and how much ground they can pick up before they put that foot down, right? But with wide receivers, we need to talk about that first step quickness as well. So for Jacoby Lane, how quick are you? How explosive are you? Do you have enough first step quickness and explosiveness off the ball to one step jab, speed released? You know what I mean? Like just throw different releases at guys at practice and then get vertical, right? And if you're leaving, do you have that? Or do you lack it? Because if you lack it, then that makes you got to think about the Keon Colemans of the world and things like that, where it's like, hey, if we're running you vertical on the outside, these routes are going to be more contested more times than not. And that's not a good way to live in the NFL. But my comp for him, and I'll say, like I said, we're going to do his full breakdown and everything else, after the Senior Bowl and everything, his actual comp to me is I see some George Pickens in this game. I see George Pickens in terms of the elite ball skills and body control and hand-eye coordination, things of that nature. Again, Mekhi Lemon became the guy for USC, right? And he's got really good ball skills. The ball's in his vicinity, typically takes it, right? But here's the problem, truthfully. To be completely honest. Yeah, Jacoby Lane has a much bigger, just a much better catch radius and ball skills. Like he goes up one-handing things. He dunks on guys. This is a power forward with great leaping ability. Who's going you throwing the alley-oop to him. Like I love Mekhi Lemon, but if we're in the fast break as a point guard, if I'm in the fast break and I got Mekhi on one side, I got Jacoby Lane, that's a really good problem to have, by the way. I'm lobbing it to Jacoby, even if a defender is there, because I know he's going to dunk on him, right? That's what he brings to the table, similar to a George Pickens. And then I want to see with the route running, do you run similar routes to George Pickens that George Pickens runs well? Those in breakers, the slants, the dig route, the over route. Do you win those horizontal routes and those outbreaking routes? Do you win them well? If so, that's the role that you can have in the NFL. And I think it'll work just fine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to him checking off some of these boxes. If he's able to do that and play and perform at a high level at the Senior Bowl, winning one-on-ones, not just contested catches and dominating the catch point, but hey, you're able to win Win clean and win quickly. And when you can win clean and win quickly, you're going to be a quarterback, a wide receiver friendly quarterback, a quarterback friendly wide receiver, and you're going to be a quarterback's best friend if you can do those things. So with Jacoby Lane, the big 6'4", 200-pound wide receiver out of USC, one of the things I'm looking for is I want to see how he plays urgency, route running, separation, athleticism. If you can check these boxes, your stock will be on the rise. Coming up next, guys, Lewis Bond. If you don't know who that is, I'm going to tell you, out of Boston College, and why he reminds me of a Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver. Ever wish to become a pro QB, getting drafted first overall? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of a number one draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty and win world titles. This is a type of game that allows you to prove you're not just a couch quarterback. You think you're accurate? You believe you make good decisions? You're calm, cool, and poised and collected under pressure? Well, prove it. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search Ultimate QB in your app store, and we've got something special for you. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, all caps, in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate QB Football Legend, QB1, it's your legacy. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to stay locked into every moment than with Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where it always feels good to be right. With football season coming down to its final stretch, now's the perfect time to close it out strong. Prize Picks makes watching the game even more exciting by letting you build simple lineups around player projections. No drafts, no waiting, just football action all the way through the playoffs. Prospects is incredibly easy to get started. Pick two or more players and choose more or less on their projections, and you're in. Download the Prospects app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDON NFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. Family, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We love talking ball with you, but we actually want to talk with you and talk to you. And the only way we can do that is if you join our invite members only Discord server by joining and subscribing our Locked On Everydayer Club. You can get into the group chat where you can talk to me and Keith, but also you can hang out in the Discord channel where you can talk. Hey, I'm in the Detroit Piston. I'm a Detroit Piston fan. I'm in there with my guy Kuka Hill, the host of the Locked On Pistons podcast. I joined that Discord channel, the NFL Discord channel. You can join there multiple for all of the sports that you love that we host here at Locked On Podcast Network. But for this show, you can chop it with me, Keith, the other listeners of the show. You can do mock drafts. We can grade them for you, all of it, guys. So I'm just saying, man, go ahead and check it out. And the only way you can do that is by going to LockedOnNFLDraft.supercast.com to subscribe today. Lewis Bond, the wide receiver out of Boston College that everyone needs to make themselves acquainted with, I would say. If you trust your boy DP here in the Locked On NFL Draft podcast, know that this young man can play. 5'11", 190 pounds. This is a former high school running back, and you can see it with his play. If I could tell you a mold of what he can fit in the NFL, that chain mover, security blanket style, versatile wide receiver that you can move and play everywhere. And then that running back background, you see him line up in the backfield, and you can run some routes in the short to intermediate with him. And this is a young man who's been productive. He's been productive at BC, man. He's their all-time leading receptions leader. He's their all-time leading receptions leader and fifth all-time in receiving yards. He's been a reliable weapon for Boston College, right? And this is a densely compact built wide receiver, a compact, dense built wide receiver. And I'm gonna tell you what he reminds me of. watching him on tape, I see some Parker Washington with this young man. And as we saw Parker Washington, I don't know, feel like he became darn Trevor Lawrence's wide receiver 1 for somehow this year, right? And Parker Washington listed at 5'10", 204 out of Penn State. And I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, this is a young man. I remember watching him at Penn State, and I was high on him then. I was like, okay, this kid can play. Like he's gonna make some things happen. And they were able to get him. He was drafted in the 6th round, 185th pick in the draft. Crazy enough, Parker Washington's cousins with Josh Dobbs. Fun fact. But Lewis Bond, I think, might end up going day 3 as well. But this is his opportunity to prove what he can do at the Senior Bowl. Again, 5'11", 190 pounds. And I really liked what I saw from Lewis Bond on tape, right? A guy that is friendly to the quarterback, that can make plays in the short to intermediate. He's quick. He's got good hips to swivel and drop and change directions when he needs to. A guy that can run routes and run a variety of routes, stick concept, spot, mesh, the Texas route out of the backfield, option routes out of the slot, all of that. So I think for me, the one-on-ones for him could be really, really good, right? Because he could have maybe that Roman Wilson type of where, hey, I'm not the 4'2" athlete, right? And the most dynamic and explosive, but I'm no nonsense. I'm very deliberate. I'm intentional, and I'm decisive as a route runner. And when you are those things and those boxes are checked off, like you can get in and out of your breaks clean, you can get in and out of your routes clean, you can get in and out of your routes quickly, you can get off the line of scrimmage quickly. So I like his feel for space and everything. I think this is a guy that could absolutely have a great week in Mobile in the one-on-ones. But then if the coaching staff, like I beg them to use these young men as the way that we saw in college to an extent. When you go 11 on 11, motion him, get some motion going, some pre-snap motion, get some orbit stuff going, and then give him the ball in space and make the defense have to tackle, right? And make them have to tackle. If not in practice, but please in the game, simply because of the fact that's a part of his game. So being able to showcase to the scouts and to the other coaches and GMs and everybody else who will be there, hey, I can be a dangerous weapon with the football in my hands in space. That goes a long way. And this is a young man that's been, he can play. And for a 5'11" guy, I really appreciate the balance through contact. That's what that running back background. You see the leg drive, the strength of the thick lower halves and strong legs. You see him pick those feet up and put them down and drive through contact, the balance through contact where, hey, I catch the ball in the middle of the field. He is what we call, he's a glue guy. Yes, Lewis Bond is a glue guy wide receiver because you talk about being able to catch passes in the middle of the field, right? The OTB route over the ball. You can run those type of routes with him. He catches it, sinks down and nestles into the crevices and creases of zone coverage. Quick route, boom, catch the ball. Now he quickly swivels his hips and gets north and south. He's not going to do a bunch of dancing, trying to juke you. And no, he doesn't play football like he's playing NCAA or college football 26 or Madden 26. He is very deliberate. Catch, turn, run. He's going to make the necessary maneuvers and reads and decisions. And when he does those things, now you get up into the teeth of the defense. That 5-yard OTB route in the middle of the field against zone where no one's around you, you catch the ball, you do it, and you turn the field quickly. That 5-yard short dump off turns into a 7, 8, maybe even 9-yard gain because you just got 3 to 4 yards after the catch. And instead of off of 1st and 10, now it's 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. Okay, and you put yourself in more manageable down and distances. And I just think that he brings a lot of that versatility. And that not just competitiveness, but comfort to the field for a quarterback. And I think with good hands, he'll pluck the ball out of the air. He attacked the ball at his highest point. He does not mind. He's an aggressive, competitive player. It's simple. The more you can do, the better. And I think with Lewis Bond, he brings and adds a lot that you can use in multiple places. He can wear multiple hats for you. And I think the Senior Bowl and the one-on-ones, the hey, can we give you some handoffs? What can we do with you in multiple ways? I hope to see him return some kicks and punts in Mobile at the Senior Bowl game, at the Panini Senior Bowl game. I think this is a player you need to watch. I think this is a player, a wide receiver in a loaded wide receiver class. In a loaded wide receiver class. Looking at my report right here, I believe I have like a 4th, 5th round pick on him. I think he can come off the board that early. I don't think he comes off before that unless he goes to the combine and just tests out of this world. So showcasing this, hey, what type of speed, what type of athleticism do you have? How quick are you in and out of those breaks, right? He doesn't have a lot of wasted movement. It's very smooth in terms of his hip transitions. When he plants, he cuts. It's not plant, drift, cut, rotate, or round off and things like that. He doesn't hold the line. He's drifting back. And because when you're in those in cuts, and you're dealing with a corner that's playing off, that click and close, they're not clicking and closing to stay over the top. They're clicking and closing to get underneath and try to take the ball away. So can you not drift upfield? Can you hold the line? And then your quarterback can lead you straight down that line. So I think this is a good player that can do different things for you and whatnot, but definitely someone to keep your eye. I'm gonna keep my eye on it for sure. But I want to introduce you to Lewis Bond, 5'11", 190-pound wide receiver, versatile wide receiver out of Boston College. And coming up next, guys, we're gonna close this show out with Aaron Anderson, Josh Downs 2.0. You might have heard it here first. The championship round is here. And FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts that you can apply to the bets you like most. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply the profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get and continue to roll. So visit FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Again, visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot for being our everydayers. Aaron Anderson, a guy that could end up filling a similar role as a chain-moving slot receiver in the NFL, like my guy out of North Carolina a couple years ago, Josh Downs from the Indianapolis Colts. Similar builds as well. Aaron Anderson's listed at 5'8", 188 pounds. I think he's actually listed as that he weighs more than Josh Downs does or did coming out of North Carolina. This is a precision route runner, a smaller wide receiver that plays predominantly in the slot, but he's detailed and nuanced as a route runner. He's very smooth, changes directions very well, plays with good deception in terms of altering his speeds and everything. And I think at the Senior Bowl for this young man, the whip routes, the slants, the mesh concepts, the over routes, the way he's able to get in and out of his breaks is so clean and crisp. It's hard to stick with him man to man if you can't grab that get a hold of that jersey to stay with them, because even he does a good job selling. If he takes an inside release, you're thinking he's going to run a post or go up the seam, and then he plants and pulls away from you on the in route, on the dig route, right? And different things of that nature. He tracks the ball fairly well. He'll go down low and make the catch if it's a low throw. I really like what I've seen from this young man on tape. Now, again, this year was not kind to him, nor was it kind to anybody in that LSU offense. The first 3 weeks of the season, though, listen to these numbers. 6 for 99 against Clemson, 8 for 73 against La Tech, and 4 for 75 against Florida. But after that, 46, 12, 18, 59, 16, and 0. The offense was terrible, man. The offense was terrible. It was predictable. And, protection wasn't good, and Nussmeier wasn't good. Shout out to Keith. He said he'll still take him top of the second round. I have a third round grade on Nussmeier. Barely third, almost fourth. I still like Nuss, but you're gonna have to show me something in Mobile, and I hope to see that right from him and Aaron Anderson. I think this is an opportunity for these guys to go out here and put their best foot forward and say, "Listen, it wasn't us." Because last year for Aaron Anderson, he had 874 yards receiving and 5 receiving touchdowns. The young man can play. If you flip flop these years, people are talking about Aaron Anderson more going into this draft cycle, more, but they're not, because the numbers, like if he had 874 and 5, he had 0 touchdowns this year, man. Like that LSU offense was abysmal. Okay, abysmal. So yeah, I think this is a guy that can go out there and he's a really, really good route runner and separate, especially against some of these bigger corners, right? He's 5'8". These guys who are 6 foot, 6 foot on up, 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and 6'4". Yeah, you better get hands on, because if he sells that shallow cross just to break it down and whip it back, whip it back. Yeah, you heard the remix, to whip it back. Okay, right on the whip route, he's gonna leave you sitting there stuck in mud, and you don't want that. Okay, well, I've seen big corners go to the Senior Bowl and get exposed like that. So just be prepared. Sometimes you got to try and mirror and match a guy and not try to be so aggressive out the gate. Okay, so I think Aaron Anderson has a lot to prove, a lot of money to earn, because I believe I have on him, just because of how the season has gone, and I do like him and everything. I like his game. I have a 4th round on him as well. 4th round, on the verge of being the 5th round pick. Right? I think this young man can do different things for an offense, right? He can line up in the backfield as well, run routes out of there. And I believe with his movement skills, he could absolutely be a punt return ace, right? I think he could be an absolute monster on punt return and kick return if he so chose to develop there and everything. But you talking about we need a really good slot receiver. Like, I think what was my comp in my report? I'm giving you guys my report from Bleach Report, but still go look at it. Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas, who's with the New England Patriots. So Josh Downs, he reminds me of Josh Downs a lot, with the Colts, but I don't want to put that type of expectation, because Josh Downs is one of the best slot receivers, in my opinion, in the league, right? But I think the floor is more of a Pop Douglas, where you could get excited about him in the offense, but if they bring in some better outside pieces, he might get overshadowed, right? And unless your offense is built like the Tom Brady Patriots, or like he would be a great fit for Bryce Young in the Carolina Panthers. He would be a guy that they could take a late flyer on, a day 3 flyer on, and he could probably end up routing up their best nickel corners in training camp and end up being that chain mover, where then you allow Jalen Coker to make big plays at the catch point down the field. You allow Ted McMillan to do the same thing. Why, this is a young man with his route running ability, change of direction, yak ability as well. And he just has a natural feel for the game. And I think all of that can be on display. And it's not the one-on-ones for him. I think the one-on-ones would be crucial, but I think it's the team drills. When they go team drill and you get zone coverage and see how quickly he can nestle into those zones and into those pockets in the defense, that's the type of stuff that translates to the league, guys. So I'm telling you now, 5'8", 188-pound wide receiver Aaron Anderson, coming out of LSU, going to the Senior Bowl. I think he was originally supposed to go to the Shrine, him and Barry and Brown, but they flipped the script and jumped ship, and they're going to Mobile. And kudos to them for that. Can't wait to see him in person and everything. And shout out to everybody that'll be at the Shrine and everything. I'm probably looking to do an extra episode later on this week to break down some of the players at the Shrine and everything like that. But yeah, man, guys, I'm telling you right now, man, we're not done breaking down these prospects, because coming up later on this week, Keith and I are going to do positional rankings for the Senior Bowl. So we're going to rank the prospects at each position at these positions: quarterback, wide receiver, running back. Those strong. We're going to talk about it, man. We're going to give our rankings. Hey, Taylor Green, are you QB1 at the Senior Bowl? Is it Garrett Nussmeier? We'll talk about all of that, guys, coming up later on this week. But that's the show, man. Aaron Anderson, Lewis Bond, Jacoby Lane. These guys can end up being risers coming out of the week in Mobile. If they go down, play their game, and prove that they have NFL level skill sets, which we all believe they do. And for those who don't know about Aaron Anderson and Lewis Bond, now you know. Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.